when the food is rich and tasty. Jedinina. Adam's Kitchen. Ain't you beer to me, Toby? A Graniki Amike, Zeda, Yet Sea Packaging, Adam's Kitchen, Jollof and fried rice with assorted options. Pizza, special noodles, Bunkune tilapia, Adam's Kitchen, Aroma, no, Kumase, your main restaurants, El Tanoso, Tafo, KNWC, and Amstead. More flavor. Namamo Bokwani Atasmanso, Yamamu mini restaurants. Adam's Kitchen joints, you know, Ubeyebi Wapatrapa, Boku Krum, and in Nigeria, you will order says ya, not to enum 053-7277-856, and answer 020-320-4416. Adam's Kitchen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to YFM 102.5 Kumasi. Now, from today and every Wednesday, I'll be coming your way with Leaderboard series, and it's going to be an exciting conversation every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Just before I do an unveiling of who my guest is tonight, let me talk to you about Tabia Takum. You need to reach out for it. But you need to be 18 years and above. Once you are 18 and above, make sure that you are walking into any pharmacy, licensed chemical shop or herbal shop, and grab a pack of Tabia Takum. I'm the one a guy. Love Condos makes you feel at home. Everybody's home. Love Condos is at Edumenu behind the 4BN military barracks on the Odruajaku Street. Now, they have one standard bedroom suite. They have a superior, they have executive, they have the presidential suite, and deluxe as well. When you're lodging at Love Condos, you are treated like a king or a queen that you are. You get access to royal room service, free Wi-Fi, TSTV, pool and bar, full air-conditioned rooms, serene environment, 24/7 security, smart card key locks. I love that. Soundproof rooms too. And for your honeymoons, it's almost Valentine's. You are skeptical about where to hang out at. Please walk to Love Condos. Call them for bookings on 0501 689 624, 0501 689 624, or log on to www.loveccondos.com. Soccer Bet is talking to you about soccer chance. Sometimes bet and in okay, but could be pet na at the Asama Bro. Would you want NJ? Well, that's where soccer chance comes in. Whilst you're betting, you're not losing. You're in time. You're on time. If you want to bet with soccer bets. When you bet 10 plus matches, 1.30 odds or higher, and you lose even one game, they're still rewarding you 3 times your stake. Remember, the terms and conditions apply. United States of Supermarket. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the United States of Supermarket. Imagine a place where the vibrant energy of America meets the warmth of Ghanaian hospitality. Supermarket to me. Now you're going to explore luxurious lounges, each named after iconic American seats, carefully selected to match the unique character of Kumasi's location. Until person visit Bronx or Tanoso. If you want to go to Ohio, Ubeko Krofrum, so Georgia Swa, and we have Repo Junction, and West Coast in Los Angeles, Santase. And then if you want to feel the Vegas, please get to Patasi. So for reservations, please call 0596 0596 922 066 0596 922 066. A supermarket and a Uptown. Valentine's Day with a dead I say baby. Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now. Tonight, we are in the presence of a man whose name is now synonymous with transformations, leadership, and a relentless pursuit of excellence in healthcare. He is the CEO of Confanoche Teaching Hospital, and he is not just managing the hospital. YFM. He is reshaping the future of healthcare in Ghana. Now, from his visionary leadership to the groundbreaking Hugh Confanoche projects, his impact is undeniable. And so if you're tuned in tonight, congratulations. You've made the best decision tonight, because you're going to deep dive into the story, the strategy, the spirit of the man behind it all. I call him Man Mozart in my heart. And I'm going to ask him why he's called Mozart. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to YFM 102.5 Kumasi. This is Leaderboard series with me, Abnake Yadom. And my guest for the debut show is the renowned Professor Otchere Addai-Mensah. Whoa. I think I should get a 21 gun salute for Prof. Prof Akwaba. I Prof Idi Ebeka Prof Bebre. But we say you two for so nana die.
I'm not so won't teach you.
Oh, Prof we teach you. Prof we teach you. You're welcome. I would first want to thank you for honoring my invitation. I know how busy you are, but for you to have taken time off your busy schedules to be here means a lot to me. Even before we delve into more talks, why do they call you Mozart?
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Abna, for having me here. This is my first time coming to YFM.
Yay.
And I think it's a very nice environment.
Thank you.
Initially, I got a little bit confused. I was wondering if I knew where YFM was. And then just after I had sent the message to you,
right, I
realized that, look, I apply this road almost every day.
Right.
And so, yes. Mozart. Well, because I love classical music. I have quite a lot of Mozart, Handel, Beethoven's compositions. And then, usually when you're in high school, everybody tries to get a nickname and all that. And so, essentially, because I was, even at that time, a lover of classical music, my friends started calling me Mozart. And it stuck up until now. So in the university, my vice chancellor calls me Mozart.
Interesting.
My students call me Mozart. My friends call me Mozart. And so that's it.
And you like it?
Well, I don't have a problem with it at all. I respond to it.
Before I even delve into your childhood, right, you did radio at some point.
Yes. I have been a radio person since 2006.
Okay. As a
panelist,
right,
usually on socio-political programs.
Right.
But in 2016, I started hosting a program. It was a little bit political.
Okay.
We started from Utech FM, then it was called KGTR, and then to Pure FM.
YFM. Yes, Bresosem.
And then to Ebusia FM as Bresosem.
Right.
Until 2022, about 3 years ago, the 1st of December. No, right. I think I quit around about October.
Right.
When there was the indication that I was going to go to Confanoche as a chief executive officer. And so I had to then withdraw, do some introspection, and plan on the way forward so far as Confanoche was concerned.
Now let's come back to your childhood.
Right.
Growing up, was there any indication that you're going to end up in the medical field?
Well, interesting. I was born on the 6th of March, 1975.
Okay.
My mother was 21 years old at the time.
So you're an independence baby?
Yes. Incidentally, 75, 57, Ghana's independence was in 57, and I was born in 75. So you just flip the two numbers. And then, so I think that Ghana and myself are inseparable.
Please don't let the little boys hear this.
My mother was 21 when she gave birth. My father was a very married man. My mother had had 4 abortions for him. I was the 5th. My dad gave her 2 cedis to abort me because he didn't want the baby. There was a particular man who usually took my mom to the hospital for the abortion to be carried out. He felt that he had become one too many. And so therefore took my mother to his wife, had her cook for her, and then went back to tell my dad that the abortion had been carried out. He popped champagne at the news that I had been aborted, only to find out a couple of weeks later that I was still alive. So that was the beginning of my woes as Addai-Mensah. And so he told my mom that he was to use the 2 cedis to take care of herself and the unborn baby.
Wait, so he was married?
He was married.
Had a family?
He had a family.
So your mom was like the side chick?
Yes.
And then had
and
portions.
somebody told me, say, oh, the ancestors of the side chicks, they are grow crowd. Side chicks,
please, Mansa should not hear this. I disassociate myself from this. But this is just for jest.
Yes.
So your mom is a side chick.
Yes.
Gets pregnant once, twice, the third time, the fourth
time, gets all of them aborted.
For the man, same man. What was your mom doing? What does she tell you?
She worked at SIC and then later on at SNIT. She worked at SNIT for 38 years until she went on retirement.
You mind me ask, was she a graduate?
No, she was a polytechnic student at the time, Kumasi Polytechnic.
So she was an elite, at least. She knew her ways.
Yes.
And where were your grandparents?
I didn't live to see my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, but my grandmother was around. And so for the most part of my childhood, I was stuck to my grandmother, who sold at KJTR Market and at the Central Market. And so I'm very conversant with the workings
YFM.
KJTR Market. You look a little bit surprised.
Very.
Why?
You know, it's I don't know why suddenly I'm hearing the rejected tone in my head.
Yes. Okay, so it's quite interesting. And so every school fees was paid from the proceeds of the sale of my mom's clothing and her jewelry.
Okay.
You understand? I have sold stuff. Do you know Bode? You won't.
No. Please don't do this to me. On my show, don't do this to me, Prof.
I've sold stuff at Bode. I've sold stuff at KJTR Market. Maton amonche, maton kerosene, maton ahedie, maton nsio.
Prof,
the only reason I stopped doing those, it was because my mom needed to go to work.
Right.
She was 21 years. She needed to go to school and then subsequently work.
Right.
And so she left with my grandmother,
right,
who traded in the market.
Right.
And so every time she was going to the market, she carried me on her back. And so I got very used to her. And then when I was at Cambridge International School, when I was doing all those things in KJTR Market and all the other places, the only reason I stopped was because on an occasion, some schoolmates of mine almost caught me selling. And
no way.
I am sure that by now I would have been called a Monche or something.
It would have been disastrous.
You understand? And so it was the only reason why I decided that I wasn't going to do that again. I mean, tried as my grandmother and my mom did. I wasn't going to have any of that.
I'll take you back again.
Right.
Now this man breaks the news to your dad that the abortion was a success.
And he pops champagne at the news that I had been aborted.
Interesting. Weeks later, he finds out that it didn't happen.
Yes.
And he asks your mom to take care of you with the 2 guys.
Yes, obviously, if she had had the abortion, 2 cedis is how much he would have paid. And there would have been no baby. And so he says that for her decision to have the baby, she should use the 2 cedis to take care of herself and the unborn baby.
What does your mom tell you about the time she delivered you, the time, the moment?
Well, I was born at Konfanoche, and my grandmother was always there by my mom.
Right.
She was her pillar of support. And so that was it. And so it's interesting, but 6 March 1975 was a Thursday, and it was around about the evening, around 6 o'clock. That was when I was born. And my grandmother was there to support her throughout. And so I had a very solid bond with
your grandma.
My grandma. Yeah, may her soul rest in peace.
Amen. Now, how was she able to fund your education at Cambridge?
Yeah, my mom worked at SNIT.
Okay.
Right. And they had some scheme where sometimes they would have some monies round about September when schools were reopening. And so that was a kind of support. And she was, SNIT worker salaries were quite okay. And so with that, and then she was selling her clothes, her jewelry every now and then to support it.
Mommy, they won't sing it from cry.
Yeah, I've had issues with her now, but now we are very okay.
I'm glad to hear that. Fast forward to after junior high school. Then no more friends saying. Such a number of friends saying.
Well, maybe O level.
Okay.
Any A level.
Okay.
And
so
then I went to the university.
Okay. So you took an exam to begin the O level,
Common
right?
entrance.
Okay.
Okay. So I didn't write the common entrance because at the time I was supposed to write the common entrance, I was unwell. And so I did a late entrance.
Okay.
Where you go to some school and then you write an exam. Exams usually they did those exams for people who could not write the common entrance as a way of assessing, your suitability for admission to the school. And so I did a late entrance.
Right.
And then subsequently wrote the O level in 1992, did my A level in 1994, and then entered the university in 1996, 14th of September.
Amazing. You're good with dates too. We like that. Entering the walls of the university.
Right.
What was the future for you looking like? Looking at where you were coming from, all the hawking, your mother's story.
The truth is, very many people have a similar reaction like you had when I tell them that this was the life I led. Sometimes it appears to them as though, Uncle Folk can be known, can be. You understand? But I did quite well at school. I remember National Service, I was supposed to go to some place in the Upper West. And then Prempeh College said no, they wanted me to come back and teach chemistry. And so I got a letter to be given to the regional director of the National Service Scheme, Mr. Frimpong at the time. I stood there from 9 o'clock to like 5 p.m. Within that period, my dad came in the company of some other students who were the sons and daughters of his friends, and he had come to change their postings for them. He saw me, waved at me, it's saying, Dampache. He didn't even ask why I was there. So eventually, I had to stand out there until about 4:30 when there was a man called Kennel, who was the Kumasi Metro director. He had seen me stand there since morning. So he approached me and said, why was I still standing out there? And I told him that, well, I had a letter from Prempeh College that says that they want me posted there to come and teach core science as it then was. Now it's integrated science and then elective chemistry. So he fixed it for me.
Why?
I met the man a couple of years ago at Abetifi, and he remembered it like I did. I emptied my wallet to him, and it was because he saved us. So yeah. And so yes, so I did quite well at the A levels, and I applied. Then, if you wanted to enter the university, if you were applying for 4 programs, you would buy 4 separate forms. So I applied for pharmacy and then medicine. I got admitted into both. If I had my own way, I would have read pharmacy. But there was nobody, none of the people my mom spoke to would have me read pharmacy. Oh, Ghana for any doctor. So, So yeah, eventually I ended up reading medicine. From 1996, I completed medical school on the 2nd of August 2002.
Wait, so all this while, in my head, I'm so sorry, I thought you were an academic doctor and not a medical doctor.
Okay, so I finished medical school in 2002. I did a master's in biomedical sciences at the University of Westminster, 2004 to 2005. And I did a PhD in immunology and biotechnology in Germany.
So you're both?
Yes, please.
Did you practice?
Yes, I worked at Konfanochi Teaching Hospital as a house officer. I started on the 23rd of September, 2002. That was when I started my house job.
I see.
And then in 2004, I worked for about 6 months at the ABA Hospital in Takwa as a local doctor. And then on the 6th of October 2004, I boarded a flight to UK, London specifically, for my master's program.
Interesting.
Right.
You've built an impressive, career. And what would you say was your turning point in your journey from, a young student, a young hawker, a young single mother's son, to being the CEO of Confanoche Teaching?
Well, once I entered the medical school, I knew that the future could only be bright. And essentially, because anybody who enters the medical school will eventually come out, no matter how long it took. And I was, if you want, the risk of sounding like a bragger, I was a star when I was at Prempeh College.
Tell us.
So, and usually in medical school, you have the creme de la creme. So you have Ogas school, at this school, the best from the various schools coming together.
Right.
And
then there was Mozart.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. So, I graduated with 3 awards out of 11 in a class of 67.
Where was your dad?
He passed in 2014, July 27th July 2014. But we had patched up at the time, and I remember when he was admitted at Confanoche, and then I had a call from Professor Biduado of blessed memory, who was a very good friend of hers. He called me. I was in the car with my wife. He says, Mozart, where are you? I said, I'm headed to Tech. He says, I've admitted your dad on D4. Please come and see him. I said, okay. So I was quiet. My wife asked what the issue was. And I told her that Professor Biduado had called and said he had admitted Otchere on D4 and that he wanted me to come see him. So I kept driving. Then he calls again. And Biduado was my father figure. And many people didn't know he was a very good friend of my dad's. And he knew the relationship between myself and my dad. So he stood in as a father figure and took a very deep interest in all the things I did as a student, as a doctor, as a lecturer. So he called for a second time. And this time he was more, direct, turn and come, like he was giving me an instruction. So I said, okay, sir. So I turned and I went to see him with my wife. Then he kept apologizing and all that. I said, oh. And he wasn't apologizing to me, he was apologizing to my wife, as though he had done something wrong to her. But I'm sure that he knew that, well, she was my wife, and that
there's a way. There's a way.
She could get me to.
Yes. And I mean, a man with a wife and side chicks knows his way around, so he knew that there's a way.
So that essentially was it. And then, in fact, Professor Biduado played a key role in me securing funding for my studies at the University of Westminster, from the application process, the interview process, and eventually then I went to the University of Westminster, came back and got employed as a lecturer in the School of Medical Sciences at KNUST, and then later seconded to the Faculty of Allied Health Sciences, where I was later to become the dean after heading the Department of Medical Laboratory Science.
Your people spoke to me back though.
Did they?
Yes.
Wow.
Hey, Mozart Bao show so hey, Papa way. Oh, you're good. Nadia carried the but I mean, say akola o mane ma mendano.
You see, I have worked as the Vice Dean of Students, as a Deputy Director of Student Affairs. I was in charge of conduct and discipline from 2019 to early 2019, February 2019 to December 2022.
YFM.
What it is, that position, you act more or less like the senior housemaster of a high school, right? Any problems anybody had,
they come to you.
They'll come to you.
Right.
And it ranges from academics, social life, issues with their boyfriends, their girlfriends, issues with their parents. And so you're a father figure. You stand in local parentage to all the about 85,000 students. And I keep thanking Professor Obri Danso for giving me that opportunity. And subsequently, Professor Rita Akosia Dixon, whom I'm very well pleased for giving me that opportunity to serve the university and the students in that capacity.
Amazing.
Now, in that capacity, there are times you mete out punishments to students and you give them pats on the back when they do well. And so naturally, you will not have everybody like you, especially when you are the type who would insist that the right thing is done.
Absolutely.
And so, but for many of them, after they have left the walls of the university, they appreciate what it is that you did for them. There are people who, but for the, if you like, principal positions some of us took, would probably not have eventually completed the university. There's once a student who started with a CWA of 83. By the time he got to the third year, his CWA was 61. Had got into some kind of company, got rusticated for 2 years. Before the rustication the period would elapse, he got involved in another thing, got rusticated an extra year, and so on. He eventually left the university, went to Legon, had some issues. He called me a couple of days ago and was apologizing for all the things he did. He'll call you names, that kind of thing. But I had always seen them as my kid brothers and sisters, sometimes as brothers, depending on their age, and felt that sometimes there was a need for me in that capacity to protect them from themselves, right apart from the need to protect them from, other people. But sometimes in certain situations, you need to protect people from themselves. Absolutely. And I did exactly that. God knows I did my best.
You did. Would you say that all these roles that you took on was a step in the right direction to prepare you for who you are today?
Absolutely. I had a fair share of leadership experience at KNUST before I was seconded to Kofanochi Teaching Hospital, where I am presently as a Chief Executive Officer. I have been head of department at KNUST for 5 years. I have been dean of a faculty. I have been vice dean of students. I have been deputy director of student affairs. I have been national vice president of UTAG. I have been president of UTAG KNUST. I have been a member of the university council. I have been chairman for various committees, university-wide, college-wide, faculty-wide, department-wide. And
so it's been leadership.
Yes. You learn a lot of things from these various positions I had the opportunity of occupying.
Apart from appointment, were some of these positions that you voluntarily vied for?
Yes, UTAG president, you'd have to campaign and,
And you had confidence you were going to win.
Yes. And if my memory serves me right, it was the first time we're having somebody from the College of Health Sciences coming in as UTAG president, UTAG vice president, and so on. And typically you would have people from, or lecturers or faculty from the College of Health Sciences, usually shying away from such positions. But I felt that there was a need for us to get involved, if indeed there was a particular direction we felt that the leadership or the direction that UTAG was supposed to go. And so I offered myself in those instances. Dean of faculty, you are voted for, and so all the professors are eligible, automatic applicants.
I see.
And then voting is done. If you win, you become the dean for a stated period depending on your level. If you are a senior lecturer, you'll be dean for a year and then a new election. If you are a professor, it will be for 2 years. You have the opportunity for another term, depending on whether or not there are other professors. So if you are the only professor, then you'd automatically have another term.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Leaderboard Series right here on YFM 102.5 Kumasi. I have the singular honor to be seated with Professor Otchere Addai-Mensah, the man making magic moves in Kumfanochi. And we're going to delve more into it in a bit.
Condos de la Chichi, it's luxury at its best. We have options to choose from for a perfect rest. Standard, studio, executive, or suites. The choice is yours to make. Luxurious living with kitchenettes for a stylish escape. We have bed and breakfast, laundry service, conference rooms for business, and leisure for you. The Los Angeles Lounge on the 4th floor has a high poolside view and entertainment as the sun sets in the sky. Locate us at Santasi off April Road, a convenient and luxurious space. Condos de la Chichi, where luxury meets affordability. Contact us on 0509-268-723.
Malaria fever.
After hours of planning, Kwame and Yao placed a perfect multi-bet. A big win on United, and both teams are scoring the London Derby. But Yawa, who could have picked Leicester over City? Or a high-scoring game at the London Stadium? But Kwame no dey shake. Unlike Yao, he did Bet Plus Betway. And with Betway's Bet Saver, he can win even if his bet misses. On multiple losses, he can get back his bets and more. Bet Saver, exclusive to Betway. Get way more. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18.
Agriculture is for everyone. And I dream of the day that everyone will have an agriculture, vocational, or technical story to share. My name is Araba Kumsin, and I welcome you to Ghana Grows Ejuma.
Join Araba Kumsing on YFM 102.5 every Monday at 8:30 a.m. for the Ghana Grows Ejuma broadcast. Don't miss Ghana Grows Ejuma broadcast on TV3 at 5:45 p.m. every Sunday evening. For more information on how to register for the Ghana Grows program, call the Springboard Call Center on 030-8255-775 or visit Springboard Zone or Ghana Grows on social media.
Ghana Grows Ejuma is brought to you by MasterCard Foundation in partnership with the Springboard Roadshow Foundation.
Let's go processing.
This year's Valentine's Day falls on a Friday. That means double the fun. Musically yours on Love 99.5 FM presents Val's Night with the Stars. Featuring Sarkodie.
Yes, Obede, number one.
Efia.
When the morning sun sweeps up.
Oforian Ponsa and more. Join the stars as they shine on Friday, 14 February 2025 at Rich Condos in Shiaso at 7 p.m. for Val's Night with the Stars. Call 0245-594425 or 0244-568252 and reserve a table. Purchase tickets for 300 cities regular and 400 cities VIP via short code *714 *25#. The Val's Night with the Stars is powered by Musically Yours and Love 99.5 FM. The Val's Night with the Stars.
There are beverages and there are beverages. Which one makes you tingly? Smart? Feel smooth or energetic? It's time to reward that specific beverage of your choice via Ghana Beverage Awards. Hurry now and nominate your preferred beverage via www.ghanabeverageawards.com. Nominations are open from 20th January to 28th February 2025. Ghana Beverage Awards is powered by Global Media Alliance in partnership with Perception Management International, Silverbird Cinemas, E-Productions, and our media partners, YFM, Happy FM, NYDJ Live, and YTV. Ghana Beverage Awards, inspiring excellence in Ghana's beverage industry.
Beauty is power, and a flawless look is your secret weapon. Get ready to turn heads and steal the spotlight, because Seg Glam Lounge is finally here. From gorgeous braids and sewings to personalized wig making, acrylic and gel nails, lip and chin wax, silk press, and the finest manicures and pedicures. Every service at Set Glam Lounge is designed to elevate your body. With unmatched precision and artistry, we don't just enhance your look, we perfect it. Because when it comes to beauty, you deserve nothing less than excellence. Locate us at Emena Kumasi, King's Pub Filling Station, and let the transformation begin. Book your appointment now. Call 050-686-1614 or 0549-210132 or 059-11-84474. Follow us on Instagram at seg_glam_lounge.
Malaria fever.
Tophonia, any accessories for Sea White Foods. A hot now, papa. They go off of Sea White Foods. Oh, bien, see.
Once again, you're still listening to Leaderboard Series. My guest is Professor Otchere Addai-Mensah, the CEO of Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. Prof.
Yes, ma'am.
I like that. But given the opportunity, even before we veer off your family, your childhood, would you have chosen a different dad?
Wow, good question. The truth is this: I believe that the things you go through in life prepare you for the tasks ahead of you. Do you remember when Jesus and his disciples met the man who was born blind, and they asked him what was accounting for the blindness, and that was it because of some sins he may have committed? Because he was born blind. That portion of scripture tells me that the disciples at least believed in reincarnation. Because if he was born blind and they were asking whether or not it was because of some sins he may have committed, what it means is that he must have lived in an earlier life, in which life he must have committed some sins and as a punishment for that he was born blind. But that's just beside the point. Another time we'll have a conversation on that. And then remember the response Jesus gave them. Have I not told you? Say right. And so sometimes the things we go through in life is just so the glory of God will be manifested.
Amazing.
Sometimes it's to let you know that all the things you have, all the gettings, look, and you to me. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who is a fertility specialist. He's married to another doctor. They have no child.
He is a fertility specialist.
Yes. And there are thousands of women who would attest to his expertise because they had issues with fertility. He helped them have children. It is to let, I think that it's just a way of God telling that, look, it's not you. It's not you. You are only a vessel. Sometimes you go through the things you go through in life just so tomorrow, when others are going through similar circumstances, similar situations, you tell them, I've been there. I know how it feels like. This is how it's going to turn out. You understand the point?
Absolutely.
And so those are the three reasons why we go through the things we go through. At the time you are going through those things, it hurts.
Yeah,
and
the feeling
wish,
is different.
Yes. But when you have been through those experiences, I think that it molds you. It all contributes to who you are eventually. And that's why I was telling you before we came on air that my favorite scripture is John chapter 4 verse 4. It says he must need go through Samaria. I call that the Samaria experience or the Samaritan experience. Jesus had told his disciples never to use Samaria as a route when they were flying from, I think it was from Galilee to wherever. But on that fateful day, they had to go through Samaria. And it was because the time for the eventual salvation of the Samaritan woman had come. Not only her, but the very many men he witnessed Christ to, who eventually came to the saving knowledge of God. Can you imagine what would have happened if they had not used Samaria?
Right.
If they hadn't gone through Samaria, what do you think would have happened?
The case would have been different.
Right. The woman would not have been saved. Those whose salvation depended on the woman would also not have been saved. And so there was a need for me, I believe, to have gone through all the things I went through. Just so one day, sometime like this, Abna K will invite me and I will have the opportunity
Look at me.
to tell the world that I have been through this, but I've turned out fine. And so irrespective of what one is going through, I am certain that as long as God lives, he will be fine. I'll tell you, I have sat in a room with friends watching TV. My dad appears on TV and is asked to request a song for his children. And he mentions everybody's name but mine. Meanwhile, everybody in the room knows me to be his son. Can you imagine the
YFM.
Can you imagine the pain? You understand? And so I think that all these things have contributed in no small way to who I am today. And so I'll be the last person to say that in my next life, if I had the opportunity, I don't want to go through those. Maybe, just maybe, if I hadn't gone through those things, I probably would have been a truck pusher by now. There are people who had the benefit of a loving and caring dad who would do anything and everything for them. They are mad on the streets after they've had several bouts of weed, pain and other things.
Interesting. Were you expecting to be the chosen one for Komfanochi Teaching Hospital?
Well, I have said this story in times past. I had gone for a retreat in Sunyani, the College of Health Sciences. KNUSC had gone for a retreat, faculty retreat in Sunyani. We had played tennis. I was with one Professor Yaoyafe. He's a very good friend. He's like a brother. And then my present head of Department of Medical Diagnostics, Lillian Entry. The husband is a Methodist priest, lives in Sunyani. And so after we had played the tennis, we were going to drop her off. And then I had a call from Asenso Boache.
Okay. He's
a very good friend of mine. So he calls and I'm like, wow, Masa, me I sure say will be phone now, friend now, no, one from. So I said, changing pleasantries. He says, okay. So he had gone to see the president because, and he has said this publicly, so I guess I can also say it, that the former CEO had asked him to go speak to the president so that he gives him a further extension for 1 year. He had clocked 60, had 2 years and 1 year, and wanted another year on contract. But when he went, the president said no, and that the president was going to give him a list of 3 people who had been recommended, and that it was to help the president choose one from amongst the 3. And then before he could get the list from the president, he asked the president, isn't it Professor Addai-Mensah? And the president knows me because in 2017, I was appointed the executive director of the Ghana Standards Authority.
Okay.
But I declined it after there was a hue and cry about the appointment because many people in the MPP felt that I had criticized the president.
So you did not deserve it.
And so on the 3rd of April 2017, it was a Tuesday, I was called to meet the president. So I met the president in the Jubilee House. And then he told me that, yeah, well, I gave you this appointment on the strength of a recommendation from, you know, that kind of, you know, our former president. But it appears as if I've made a mistake because everybody's talking about it. And I told him that, Mr. President, I'm glad I've had the opportunity to meet you. But the first point is that I have praised you, but I've also criticized you.
Right.
And as I sit here, I stand by the praises and I stand by the criticisms.
Why?
Since I've happened again today, I will offer the same criticisms. And then, yeah, it went on and on and on. It would be unfair for me to be disclosing the entire conversation here because, well, when you have a conversation with, you are privileged to have a conversation with somebody like that. It pays to, you know, be matured in your, how you handle, you know. So essentially that was it. So I said, well, if that appointment makes you uncomfortable, I would be happy to go back to the classroom to go and teach. But thank you very much for the opportunity. And I was in that office with him and Asenso Boache. So I rose, shook his hand, and then I left. And I came back and wrote a letter to decline the appointment. And so when Asenso mentioned me to him, and subsequently he had people talk to me and all that, because he was not so happy about what had gone on. So eventually when Asenso Boache mentioned, he tells me, the president was like, yeah, get me his CV.
Okay.
And so Asenso was calling me to find out whether or not it was okay, he was at liberty to give the president my CV. So I said, yes, please go ahead and give it to him. So he gave the CV to the president. And then 2 weeks later, he called to find out whether or not I had any communication from the presidency. I said no. But there was a meeting at the Regional Coordinating Council where I was invited, and the president was in attendance.
Right.
So he met me and said, Addai-Mensah, I've been looking for you. I said, okay, sir. Says, can we have a meeting in my office? There's a discussion I'm supposed to have Monday, Tuesday. I said, Tuesday, sir. And so Tuesday, I went to see the president. In fact, there were a lot of things that happened to prevent me from seeing the president. But eventually, I met him in the evening around 8:45. It was the day, I think it was the 25th of October, 2022. It was the day about 80 or 88 MPs had a press conference to state that Ken Ofori-Atta ought to be sacked as the finance minister.
Yes, it was
so
in the news.
That same day, I was at the Jubilee House to meet the president. And so I saw a lot of the meetings going on and all that. The meeting with the president lasted for only 4 minutes. So immediately I entered. I was with Asenso Boache 5.5 years after that.
The banter.
Yes, so I was with Asenso Boache and the president, the 3 of us again. And then the president said, Addai-Mensah to say, Mr. President, Juma Bua and Pesa Oyamame Obey, and we both started laughing. And we're laughing because I'm sure all of us.
Yes, all that.
Right.
He needed to be sure this time you would.
And then, Mr. President, I'm sure it has to do with the development of Ghana, so why not? And he says, okay, I want you to go to Konfanoche. Nipano on time as soon as MBT, I cannot renew his appointment. So I want you to go there. I said, thank you very much, Mr. President. I'll do my very best to make you proud. And that was it. And so I did not lobby.
YFM.
In fact, I've always stated that I owe a lot to Asenso Boache for mentioning me.
Right.
You see, a lot of the time in life, you need somebody who would mention your name around the table. When men are seated around the table, I'm using men figuratively, please. Don't
no offense taken. But the them should not hear you.
Around the table of men, you need a mention. Otherwise, no matter how gifted you are, your gifts would go into the grave with you. So that was it. And eventually, a letter was written nominating me for the board to take a decision. But the truth is that I said here, the Minister of Health at the time didn't like the fact that I was going to be. And I think that my board chair didn't like it as well.
They had personal...
I'm sure that they had
encounters with
their own preferences.
Right.
You understand? And so it took quite a while. I was supposed to have started work on the 2nd of November. I started on the 1st of December. And I'll tell you what, it took the intervention of Utumfo for me to start work at Konfanoche.
We'll come back into that. Now, leadership in healthcare is different from academics.
It is.
And what personal values and philosophies has guided you so far as the CEO of none other than Konfanoche Teaching Hospital? Now, even before you answer that, were you privy to the state of Konfanoche Teaching Hospital before you? Doc May had.
You should be a lawyer.
That is prophetic. I take it.
You should be a lawyer.
You know, you're not just a medical doctor. You see in the wings. When you said that, me feel say me were a lawyer and ka me journey.
Oh, David.
But you're afraid. You're afraid.
David. Say law is not sexually transmitted.
Tell me. Tell me.
I think that you should read law. Law would look good on you.
I would really consider
that. Well, you were asking about personal values.
Yes.
And whether or not. Yes. I trained at Konfanoche.
Right.
I remember in 2001 I had a tonsillectomy done. My tonsils were kissing and they needed to be taken off. And I remember I went to the ward. I got admitted on Tuesday for the surgery on Wednesday. Now, in the Tuesday in the night, I tried to use the washroom. I couldn't. I came back because of the state in which the washroom was. And came back. And I never used the washroom from Tuesday to Friday. I insisted that I wanted to be discharged. I was in 5th year medical school at the time. And so I got discharged. Now, subsequent to that, I had the opportunity, would I call that opportunity? Okay, opportunity of accessing these places once again because I had been there. Quite apart from the fact that I practiced there after medical school. I had visited friends, family, loved ones who had been admitted. And I had also had the opportunity of assessing the state. And it's pretty obvious. You don't need to, dive deep to know the state once you have entered the wards and all that. The leakages and all that. And so it was quite clear to me that it was a difficult task. And I remember when, after that conversation with Zubache, my friend Professor Yafu was like, wow, Charlie. Oh dear. And at some point, he was toying with the thought that, Charlie, there's one person almost set you up to feel you are doing very well in the university. Then I was UTAC president, a member of the university council. I was deputy director of student affairs. It couldn't be better. And then, Charlie, Konfanoche, and almost everybody I spoke to felt that, Charlie, Konfanoche, there wasn't a place to go. But my wife said that, it's difficult to shine in bright light. And that in darkness, just a little spark. And everybody would see it. So it's the overarching reason why I took up the challenge of going to Konfanoche.
We are grateful to her.
So I went to Konfanoche. Thursday was the 1st of December 2022. And I also knew that during weekends and holidays, the hospital was essentially dead. It was as though the hospital went on holidays during weekends.
And sicknesses too went on break.
You understand? And so it was one of the things I had seen. Then the dilapidated nature of the ABCD block. And the fact that I had always felt that if the Health Facilities Regulatory Authority, that's quite a mouthful, if they were minded, they are the institution that accredits health facilities for operation. And so if they were minded, they would close the hospital, that portion of the hospital down. And it's because it will not be fit for purpose.
Right.
I'm sure you have seen some of the videos.
Yes, I have.
And all that.
And I haven't even been there in person to see some.
And so is that bad? So if they were minded, they would close the hospital down. But then, of course, political expediency. This is a hospital that sees, on the average, 1,086 patients every day from Monday through to Friday. So Monday, 1,000, Tuesday, Wednesday, yes.
Wow.
Every day.
Wow.
You receive referrals from 10 to 12 out of the 16 regions in Ghana. So can you imagine what would happen if the hospital is closed down? And so it would not make sense, quote unquote, to say that the hospital has been closed down. But there was a need for some renovation to be done, especially given the fact that the hospital is 70 years now.
YFM.
And has received no major renovation.
Sad.
It has never happened.
Sad.
And so you go there and you realize that there are tiles on the walls, which tiles are for use in the bathrooms. And it's essentially because, you hear tiles, so then you have a benefactor who comes in when the tiles be bathroom tiles not there. But sometimes, that's what they have. But a comprehensive renovation of the block, no, it has never happened. Since 1955 and since 1975 when it became a teaching hospital, because the medical school was established in 1975, and so the medical school is also 50 years. School of Medical Sciences is also 50 years, and so that was it. And then I was aware that there was a growing divide between management and staff. Management on one hand, staff on the other hand. That led to a lot of apathy so far as
Konfanoche is concerned.
Then again, KNUST and KATH are inextricably linked because Konfanoche serves as the primary center for student education, which is also in tandem with the mandate of the hospital. Every teaching hospital has a tripartite mandate: provision of advanced clinical care, training for both graduates and undergraduates, and then of course research.
Right.
And so the training bit, to have a medical school, you need to have a training site.
Okay.
And Konfanoche still remains the primary training site. But there was a growing divide between Konfanoche and KNUST. You understand? And it was affecting service. Because as a medical student, it was impossible for me to tell who was a staff of Konfanoche and who wasn't. Who was a staff of KNUST and who was, because they were doing everything together. But now there was a divide. And one could tell that this is a KNUST staff, this is a Konfanoche staff. And there was a need for me, especially given the fact that I was coming from the university, to help bridge that gap.
Yes.
And so my work was quite set out for me even before I started. And I was blessed to have somebody's misfortune, somebody's blessing. Right? A very big chief had been admitted in our ICU.
Okay.
And so about a month to a month and a half after I had started, the president came to visit, and then the following day, the king came to visit.
Okay.
And on both occasions, I spoke to them about the dilapidated state of the old block and the need for something to be done in earnest. Otherwise,
Asempa.
The king told me that he had heard snippets and that he would come himself and have a good look at it.
Our king. Our king.
So he comes in, observes it for himself, and so in some of the audios and videos you hear me say, you understand? So you asked, do I have a plan? I said, I think that we could put a team together, draw a concept, set me and famra, And then the 25th anniversary of the king was in 2024. So it could be part of the 25th anniversary celebration. It becomes a legacy project.
Amazing.
So I called like-minded people, young men and women. So I had, there's this Abna, he's on UTV now. He used to do his he's part of the team.
Right.
Abna, Samir Dubuache, Jerry Owusu Ansa, and then the architect of the project, he's the regional engineer of PWD, architect Kojo Dako Asante, fantastic gentleman. And then Otumfo Hiahene.
Oh,
right.
I've met him, very affable man.
Focus Hospital, he's the president of Focus Hospital. And so he was a representative of Otumfo, and we indeed did ask Otumfo that we wanted him to be part of the team so that he serves as the liaison between us,
and
because he sees the king almost every day.
Right.
So it becomes very easy. And then of course, Ima, there's this big gentleman who is part of the protocol team of Otumfo.
Yes.
Ima,
I've seen dark skinned.
A little bit light skinned.
Okay, maybe I had the face one.
Thick, tall. Oh,
he was in a video.
Yeah,
at the launch.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Right. So he's also a part of the team. And that's strategic, because they are with the king almost every day.
Right.
And so therefore, if there was a need for us to get the ear of the king, it was
easier.
going to be easy through either Hiahine or Ima. We had several meetings. We decided from the very beginning that this was purely sacrificial. Nobody was going to get anything. And so nobody has been given 1 CD, 2 CD, no. Everything we have done has been sacrificial. From meetings, nobody receives any certain allowance, anything. The only people who get paid on the project are the office girl who gets 1,000 cedis a month, the accountant who does our books is a chartered accountant who gets 2,000 cedis, and the clerk of works who gets 3,000 cedis at the end of the month, and that's it. And we were lucky. You see, when Otumfo is involved in any enterprise, it can only be good.
Right.
You understand? So on the 10th of November 2023, he gave us the date. It was a Friday that he wanted to sit in state. Around that time was when Otumfo said to the first was king of Asante. And so several years later, when Konfanochi Teaching Hospital had to be healed, it was Osei Tutu the second. and that day was a full, it was a Friday. And this day was also, the 10th of November was also a Friday.
Was it by mere coincidence?
When it has to do with the king, you cannot say coincidence.
Right.
I would rather say it's divine.
Divine.
You understand?
Right.
So, and he gave the date. And I'll tell you what. We have been given the time at 11. He gave us the date. And then 2 days, the prophet said, no, and then there was a call that came, so he says, I'm coming on that Friday. I'll be there myself. Because there were indications that he was going to send somebody to come and do that. He said, no, he wants to be there himself. So he was there. Look, and typically, if a program is starting at 11 and the king is in attendance, he usually will not come at 11. You understand?
Yes.
Right. 10:55.
The king was there.
He was there. People were not sitting. 10:55. Our MC wasn't around.
You should have come for me. I would have been there on time.
You understand?
Wow.
And, no, it was essentially because, 11, Charlie Asia time back also.
Ghana 11, time. 11, 32. 1 day.
You understand? So that was it.
Whoa.
He was there.
He was not perturbed. He was not disturbed.
No. Immediately he came in, everybody then started sitting, and then the stage had been set. He climbed onto the stage, and look, a speech had been prepared when it was given to the
Yes, I heard that. I heard that.
We have had a lot of people contribute. So far, we have had about $4 million from all.
Doc, you have even slaughtered the cow before I brought it for Mayanka.
about 4 million.
Yes, what you say? Ubaya sports journalism and I'll be hosting Wow TV and our radio show. Upasoye DJ, newscaster, TV cameraman, video editor, web design, and our social media publicist. And yana baby also with Joe and Titi, Sir Franco Media Institute. Sir Franco Media Institute. Yabia, Ghana Education Service. Adjuantum. Sir Hona, journalism Titi na. Yejedo. And this sports
presentation and commentary, news writing and casting, music and DJing, program hosting, marketing and event promotion. ASL Franco Media Institute. Never photography, camera handling, and our TV production, video editing, MCR, directing, the post-production. Meze ASL Franco. Never the graphic design, the web design. When it's a Franco Media Institute, and Ninkomo or studio, what are your practicals? Hostel facility or baby abedanye problem. Now attachment our pair, a guaranteed admission cost in the year. Fred 0244 705 112 and 0505 449144 or Baltimore High Street Neso and in National Health Insurance no ne di hwe animu.
Amuzu garlic bitters ma moja die frusani ye blood pressure any cholesterol kofom eyi sciatica yaw eyema stroke ayarefo emam pomuden wani ehunade ye sugar level kofom utumi ehome ye amuzu garlic bitters tumi ma wo dan na ho ebi wo herbal any pharmacy shop.
Your property holds the power to transform your future. Welcome to Eclipse Collateral Management, the game changer in turning property documents into profits. We are not just another service. We are your partner in unlocking sustainable income and fueling business growth. With prime brokerage, collateral brokerage, credit brokerage, and land documents perfection, we are redefining what is possible for property owners and business owners alike. At Eclipse, we have built a primary depository platform, a secure, innovative space where property owners like you can lodge your documents and earn risk-free, sustainable income. For businesses struggling to secure funding, we provide collateral solutions you need to thrive and grow. Every move we make is backed by a rigorous credit appraisal process, so you know you are in safe hands. Find us at Adenta Barrier near Medi Moses Hospital, beside the West African Senior High School wall. Call 054-383-2466 today. At Eclipse Collateral Management, for property owners, we say, think safety and decent income, and for business owners we say think funding before projects.
Kabi atakum Messi chenwa o chenwa si ojina park so Kabi atakum Awurade Adroni.
I am speaking to Professor Otchere Addai-Mensah, and just before we went on break, we were speaking about the Hugh Confanoche project in a very surprising way. I had a plan, Prof had a plan, but we're on course. But Prof, let me ask you, I want us to talk about Hugh Confanoche project more because I have personal interest in it. But briefly, handling a hospital of this magnitude and all its responsibilities is a Herculean task.
It is.
You have a family, and looking at your history, how you were born, the stories surrounding it and all that, I am going to believe that you would be a family-oriented man.
Yeah.
How do you strike a balance between all these tasks that demands all your attention, full and nonetheless, and then family, which is also very important?
It's a difficult one, but I have a very supportive wife. Or how I dream about it.
Please, let's mention, on this note, I think we need to know your wife's name. I know, but they don't. Let's say hi to her.
Right, she's Mama Addai-Mensah. She's a lawyer, and she presently is with the Attorney General's department.
Was that a special reason why you married a lawyer? Or she wasn't a lawyer?
She wasn't a lawyer.
Oh.
No, she wasn't a lawyer. So she did BA Publishing Studies.
Okay.
And then did an MBA. And did an LLB.
Okay.
Did an LLM.
Right.
And then did the BL.
Right.
Which is the professional law certificate.
Right.
This year she's starting her PhD.
Hey, Prof. Let's say, what are your birthday, Kakao?
Oh, Nyehusa.
Zebe couscous.
Only say I have 3 girls.
Okay.
They will be 19, 18, and 14 this year.
Right.
The age difference between the first 2 is exactly 1 year.
Right.
And the first one is in medical school.
Oh.
The second one is writing her A levels in a month or 2.
Oh.
And the third one is doing her O levels next year. I I remember not too long ago, but it was during this period of my being at Confanoche. They told me, Daddy, what if you hire the hotel? I've turned the house into a hotel. So I leave home very early with them, of course. I drop them off school every day. We leave home at 6:45 every day. Right. And then, so see, I'm here. And then by the time I get home, I know they are studying and all that. And then Saturday, very early in the morning, we go about tennis. And we go about tennis is on my chair because that's when I have time to be friends and then on Sunday we go to church. Sunday is a real period when day when we have time together and all that. So it's quite a hassle. Right. But my wife has always stepped in and provided the support that needs to be provided for them, so that it doesn't appear that you are leaving them. And when time allows, every year, myself, my wife, my kids, and a very good brother of mine and her family, we go on trips. So we go to Maha for like 4 days. So we are like 10. And we go to Maha,
that's fun.
Aqua Safari, all those places. Right. And so we've been almost everywhere. Okay. And so it's something they all look forward to. And that helps. Yes. Because Confanoche is a very tall order. I was looking at a photograph I took, I think it was last year. Last 2 years, 2023. Why? My beard was all black.
Now it's white.
Now, it's quite stressful. Right. But very rewarding. Rewarding in terms of the fact that, the impact is felt. Like I said initially about the apathy and all that, apathy has gone down tremendously.
And I have testimonies.
Oh, okay. The apathy has gone down tremendously. And it's because now I'm not your typical CEO. I have very open door policy. I don't stay in the office. I stay in the office 3 hours and I'm around. I'm going everywhere, I need to ward office, baby, I will be, So and people person say, no, I'm the office, But when it happens like that, you have the opportunity to interact with people. And then when they have issues, they're able to tell you.
You see the situation's bare.
You pick your phone, make calls, get sorted. And I have quite a supportive management. Not everybody, but you would have 1 or 2 people not, aligning and all that. But it's all good. Yes, our management meetings are on Tuesdays. Sometimes Tuesday in the morning, the meeting starts at 10. We read the minutes. Immediately after the meeting, I say we are not having any meeting. We are going on the ground rounds. And so I've introduced what is referred to as the grand rounds, where every director, I have 7 directors, myself, and then they are,
subordinates. Okay.
Yes, will join us. 3.5 hours to 4 hours are going around the hospital. Sometimes, and if you're not careful, you would think that Confanoche is just a hospital. No, that all the doctors' flats are part of Confanoche. Okay. The nurses' flats at Ampame, Mantima. The flats at the Suebois, Snit flats, they are all part of your schedule as the CEO.
Oh.
Yeah. and so that is about it. Family is everything. But fortunately, the kids are at a level where they appreciate the fact that there's a legacy you are leaving for them, and that you are surrounded by such a great crowd of witnesses.
Yes.
Crowd of witnesses. So where they appreciate that there's a need for you to leave a certain legacy, which legacy they will benefit from. And so they are not too worried now. In the past, it used to be a problem, right? But now they have gotten used to it in a sense. And when time allows, and so in my home, I'm the nice person, and their mom is the,
Why? I don't know why lately. That's the cat is telling. In my home too. Yes. I seem to be so. Yes. Something. My boy is only 3 years old, and then something happens, and then Alfred, I'm shading your radio today, and you say, don't mind mommy. Like, what did mommy do?
Yes.
Back in the days, it was. The narrative is changing, and I love that. Doc, your time, then make questions, but me try. Now, okay. You've already run us through the Hugh Confanochi project a bit, how the king came in and all that. Madrihin.
Okay. So, the whole idea, the 4 blocks, I say, 4 blocks in here.
It is A, B, C, D.
The roof had gaping holes.
You don't say.
And it's an issue taught and there for 2 weeks. It's only because we had to what's in the washroom.
With the patients in
there. Yeah. There's a particular video where I said the cardboards to hall, so 3 patients, Nisi baby and all that, you know. And so the roof is being fixed totally. Now the A5, A4, A3 wards are done. Now A2, A1 is next. The rate determining step or the rate determining factor has been the movement of patients to a temporary holding area. That's been difficult. If you would recall that somewhere last year, Ohene Baho, it was to go have a look at Sewa and its readiness to accept patients.
Okay.
It was the regional hospital.
Okay,
if that was ready, what we were going to do was to move patients from the entire A block to Sewa.
Okay. And these are patients with whose ailments are not so... Okay.
No. Okay. The entire block, all the patients in that block.
Okay.
And so, if it was possible to move all the patients there, it meant that obstetrics and gynecology service at Confanochi would have been brought to a temporary halt. And then, so far as Confanochi is concerned. But they would be operating at Seria.
Right.
You understand?
Yes,
that would have given us the opportunity to speed up with the process. Look, the work started in June last year, but we have finished with the roof. We have finished with A5, A4, and A3.
Impressive.
Now we have A2, A1. We have materials, tiles. The tiles were imported. We have tiles for the entire A block and the entire B block. Electrical fittings for entire A block and B block. Plumbing fittings for A block. And then as for the windows, we bought them from Interplast here in Ghana.
Right.
Fantastic.
Right.
You understand? The paints were from News Paint Company. You get it. And so that has been it. We are very careful in deciding on when to move patients out to the temporary holding area. Look, it is not everybody who is happy with the work that's going on.
Why?
So in a very unlikely event, touch wood and perish the thought, that somebody loses their life as a result
of the movement,
or if it's traceable to the movement,
there will be trouble.
There will be big trouble.
Yes, there will be trouble. There will be trouble.
Yeah.
Where do we come in? I am an ordinary, in fact, I was born and bred here in Kumasi. Hayana Matna Bremai, Kronuma Francho, Sa area. I am not one person that often comes to Confanochi unless it's, I need...
That's what they all say. I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's a lady who has lived in Canada for 20 years and was coming to Ghana to spend only 5 days. On the 4th day, he had a stroke. and was brought to Confanochi. In her wildest imagination,
she never thought she would end up there.
Right.
But
here she was.
I get it.
And so you imagine, again, perish the thought that you don't even live at Brema or Kronum or wherever. You are in the States. Never ever to come step foot in Ghana again. But your mother is here, your dad is here, your siblings are here. And it is Confanochi. I'll tell you what, when that prominent chief was admitted at our ICU and the president came to visit, he posed the question, is it possible to transfer him abroad? No, because he was not stable. The king asked the same question, and it was because the wife of the chief had made representations to them that if it be possible, she would rather we sent the husband outside. But he had to stay, and if she was staying, it's the same equipment, the same state. I mean, whatever was happening there was what was going to be applied. Are you getting it?
I get you.
And even for those who are I was going to use a certain phrase, who are very rich, extremely rich, who can afford, who have even private jets and can afford to be flown to the best hospital in the world to be seen. Depending on the state, you will have to be stabilized and it will be confirmed. And so we all have the road to play.
Yes, we all do.
The minister designate for health, in fact, the minister for health now, Honorable Akando, on his way to his constituency in the Western North, he had an accident. Was brought to Konfanoche. Yes.
So Konfanoche is like everybody's second home.
Yes. And so you would have seen that Utumfo, in his call to all to come and support, stated that Konfanoche is for everybody. Look, we have patients coming from Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and all that. And so if anybody thinks that, and indeed there were people who thought like that, it was the reason why then Konfo can when he sat in state and said that would be in Famra. Now they have X on their face. Why? So you have a role to play. Say one city craft, Fabra. Okay. I was invited by a group, almost a mentorship talk. I thought I was going to meet, students. I went there and the oldest among the lot was about 12 years. 7 years, 8 years, 5 years. After I enjoyed myself, it was a pleasant surprise.
Right.
And then after I had finished, this was a couple of weeks after we had launched
the Hill Konfanoche project.
I said, Uncle, we have a surprise for you. And they gave us a dummy check and then cash of 1,000 cedis.
Oh no, I am teary.
This was so touching. You understand? And for me, it is the best we have seen. That such kids, of course they would have gotten their monies from their parents and all that, but they were minded to donate.
Right.
That, Uncle, this is our contribution. You understand? And so for me, I think that the quantum is important, but even more important is your identifying with the project.
Yes.
Because I believe, in fact, there's somebody who called and said, I had never met him. Joshop. I've never met him.
Okay, Kofi Job?
Not Kofi Job, there's Joshop.
And then there's Kofi Job, right.
Joshop on the interchange, just at the base of the interchange before you climb up on the right. That's where it's, He said, can you come to my office around like 8 o'clock? I said, I could be there in like 7 minutes. From Konfanoche to...
I mean, today you did, so I don't doubt it.
Yeah, I got there. He gave us a check for 6 million Ghana cedis.
Wow.
Yes. And I'm sure you would have seen the video.
God bless him.
He says, Otchere Sika say, now Bana Boom say, Juma say, it gives you the room to want to give more.
God bless him.
Oak Plaza.
And all our donors.
Every month, normally 100,000 cedis for 10 months. That's 1 million Ghana cedis. I say, Obeshe was, wow, this is exactly what I expected. And for this that you have done, we told it to Amamu for A block. And he's paid the cost of the block back $150,000. And he's paid. When Jasmo, MI $1.2 million, wow, this is the happiest day of my life. There's indication that he's going to give us $1 million more.
We're grateful. But everyday Ghanaian, how do we contribute the numbers? In fact, Prof, let me promise you today, I want to be an ambassador.
You are
for Hill
Konfanoche
project. And every day on this show leaderboard series, we would announce the number before I close. So that everybody donates every day. I would make sure please, Mr. Producer, every Wednesday before we leave here, we need to announce the Hill Konfanoche Momo number.
Thank you very much.
Say 50 pesos, so say teku say simple, say doso say sa. Yanjini nani from Kwaji Konfanoche nkwa.
So the short code is star 776 star.
Star 776 star.
1955 hash.
1955 hash. 1955 hash. Please, let's go again. Star
776 star.
776 star.
1955 hash.
1955 hash.
Okay. So the 1955 is when the hospital was built.
Right.
Then the MTN mobile money code is 0544
0544
1955-25.
1955-25.
1955 is when the hospital was built.
Okay.
And the 25 is the 25th anniversary celebration.
Amazing.
1955-25.
Amazing.
0544 is the MTN. And then the merchant ID is 1955-25.
Prof.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask you this personally.
All right, go ahead.
We are talking about Hugh Konfanochi project. Right. We are talking about the wards. Sadly and gloomily, what about the morgue?
The morgue. I think that Konfanochi has one of the best morgues in the country.
Okay.
I'm sure that what you have, the image you have of the morgue.
I have never been there.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But we have the best morgue in the country at the moment.
Right.
There's an older one, which one we are going to be pulling down for some developments to go on. And then we have an ultra modern one where we have space for people to come, viewing rooms and all
where
that.
the everyday Ghanaian gets access to be there should they pass.
Yes. So the morgue is in a very good state.
Since you took over, what is that noticeable change that you can attest to in terms of staff and patient relations?
It's improved tremendously. You see, when people work in an environment where they feel valued, where people are put before profit, they give off their best. 13th month allowance. Konfanochi is the leader. We have paid our 13th month allowance for our doctors and our health service workers union members. The other hospitals hadn't paid when we paid. And indeed, the health service workers union national gave Konfanochi an award for that. Promotions. Everybody is due for promotion is promoted as long as he meets the criteria. The bonding between management and staff has improved tremendously to the level where if there's a problem, can pick a phone.
YFM.
People call me and say that, oh, Chief, DB has so. I direct to the right director. Please check this place. There's so. It's done. Sometimes people think that as we are accessible. At the end of the day, what I care about is the work being done. This is Konfanochi in a better state. Our revenue generation. When I joined Konfanochi in 2022, our average weekly revenue was about 1.1, 1.2 million cities every week. Now it's about 3.6, 3.7 million cities every week. That's an improvement. And out of this internally generated funds, we have renovated the physiotherapy department. It's the nicest you can find anywhere.
I should come for a tour soon.
Come anytime. the main theater has been renovated. It's yet to start operations. Probably in a week or two at the most it will start working. New machines we've bought. Anesthesia machines, 6 brand new anesthesia machines. Total cost 400,000 per one. So 4 times 6, 24, 2.4 million. When I joined Konfanochi in 2022, we had 1.5 dialysis machines. Today, as I said, we have 20 dialysis machines.
Yes.
From 1.2 to 20 in 26 months. It can only be God.
It can. There is a new government.
Right.
Are you threatened by the new government? Do you have fears
not at all. My contract expires in November 2026. But at any point in time, if I'm asked to go, I know I've paid my dues.
Right.
And I'm an associate professor of hematology and immunology at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And so I will gladly bow out if I'm asked to bow out. There's job to be done. I'm doing what I can do to lift the image of Konfanochi and of Asanteman. But if at any point in time it becomes necessary for me to move, I will move without blinking.
Let me read some messages from some of your fans. Right. There's a friend of mine, her name is Rashida Bawa. She's actually a nurse at C4.
Oh, okay.
And she tells me that you are the best they have ever had. This person would like me to keep her anonymous, but she is is it anesthesiologist?
Anesthesiologist.
Okay, I had it. And she says that in my few 10 years as a staff of Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, he is the best we've had. We'll be opening the phone lines now. Please give me a call on 0246807545. And my Professor Otchere Addai-Mensah, Kwanche for Penny or Da Konfanochi Teaching Hospital.
Mekatri
pa. Na menene sinkunya na ye bobo Konfanochi himself. Prof, but maybe sa we answer my family first scholar. Personally, as a Benaki Yadom, one of my major problems with Ghanaians, I have not had the opportunity to travel out of the country yet, but I feel we have a problem with maintenance culture.
Yes, I knew it was coming.
And I have seen the videos. On Friday, I was there.
Right.
I saw that I'm not the only person that loves the king because the crowd was enormous. So I had to, retreat and surrender and then find a convenient day to come and pay a visit. This is beautiful from the footages, the videos. This is beautiful. What is the maintenance culture plan?
Right, there's a plan. In fact, as part of the plan, we're talking about a fund, the revolving fund, a $1 million revolving fund for maintenance. You see, Konfanochi Teaching Hospital has had its fair share of the apparent lack of a maintenance culture in many an organization, especially state-owned institutions and organizations. And so we're mindful of that. Indeed, almost everybody who was there on Friday was talking about what the state of what they were seeing was going to be in a year or two.
Absolutely.
The truth is that there's a maintenance plan policy that is being developed with an inherent maintenance plan. And so I can promise our listeners, our benefactors, people coming on board, that this will not suffer the usual lack of maintenance that has bedeviled many estate institutions. And so, for example, you would have noticed, okay, you haven't been there yet. There's a janitor's room where janitors will be stationed permanently.
Okay.
And the cleaning would be done as happens in our various international airports, where immediately somebody leaves, somebody goes to clean. And so, yes, we are very mindful of that, and we have sworn to ourselves that this will not be business as usual.
Let's get on the phone lines now. I have my first caller here. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Senior, let's say.
Nyame
adom ye ho ye pa ye first o kasa free
Pacho famous someone me kasa free stadium.
Okay, asamoa ye ne kwanche for penny da Konfanochi Teaching Hospital ano ne di nkomo wetimati kakra
Pacho Prof we dey akwaba in fact adia my na efe esum yo bu ankasa because Konfanochi no hospital so anka enyama yehia no horo e do boye pa because you have a koye center no omo freeze chese oh enti yadamase pa wo de mo yama no se de be ya yenso so ye ho beto yen in fact yenso a omo from kakra say the be omo si akọ hospital nketewa no because the bia na ho na ye choke obekono na edipa ho kire omo obi builda a form obi yare serious do da form in fact the mo ye no esumi obupanti
yedase na ye the number ni betu dwa me so for 1 city 2 cities 5 cities 1000 cities brain na ye fambo why all right. Let's head on to the next caller. Please call me on 0246807545. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Bunaki.
It's a pie, let's say. What are you saying?
You're from a Paisan, Catherine.
Nice one. Pfizer, you too.
But sure, maybe next time come over live on Facebook.
We were actually streaming live on Facebook. Hey, I have done all. Yeah, streaming. Me pacho live.
Oh, okay.
Inti ye wie kra ubetumi asan akwa
me ba life no so anank ma be nse ni passment ni eni ni di ni ko.
Prof so de ne ho efe pa krachi mu apa. Eti mpa chokoshe mai na kai ne hye ne so say ye gusu agigi sika no. Inti ai abuna kenti fakakra bra.
Me bo ama no se Nyankopon empeja no. Baby, I would be a young man and quatinty and holding room. Sabi, I'll bet me a shame so. Oh, I are Sabianis.
Me that's it. Mr. Mamon Fanchemi, we have been streaming on Facebook since 7 p.m., 6 p.m. But you show no crana, you can still watch a playback. It would still be on our page. In two bit to me, hello, good evening. Passionate to say. Bonito my uncle. Okay.
Make sure the dog can I'm a son. Emergency or no. I do not offer. Never mind, maybe at home. And Papa, we do what does. We are also doing. It's so now what's your community.
All right. Okay, me da se dog so be kan ho asem. Kan na fa usi kan so bra. Kakra bi ansa. All right. Prof, let's talk brief. Our time is up, okay, but
let me tell you, emergency or your orange ward, your yellow ward, and your red ward.
Right.
Now, ufri konfanoche ekwa kusi straw. Uyi konfanoche free ma. There's no emergency physician in any hospital.
Oh.
Konfanoche is the hub of emergency medicine in Ghana.
Right.
Konfanoche emergency physicians are helping to train Kolibu doctors. They're helping to train Cape Coast doctors.
Okay.
So far as emergency medicine is concerned.
So are you understaffed?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Now the problem is this: the orange ward has a capacity of 12.
And it goes beyond that.
Just yesterday we had 44 patients. The yellow ward has a capacity of 18. Sometimes it was 25, 36. The red ward has a capacity of 7. It means 18 patients in the ward. You see, there are two options for us. When we get to 12, ubi aba nanke akache and say ahayema into uncle baby for uncle. You are practically asking the person to go and die. Which is better? That the place gets filled up. There are 44 patients in orange when they are supposed to be 12. The 45th patient comes, and then we have him lie on a wooden bench and give him oxygen. Or he comes and we tell him that the place is full, you have to seek help elsewhere, and goes back to die. Which one would you have us do?
Well, we can't have him or her die.
Exactly. There have been times when the doctors and nurses have indicated that, look, we put ourselves in harm's way when we admit beyond our capacity. Because when something goes wrong, we could be sued. But how do you look at somebody who has been brought by a taxi, a commercial cab, right, after an accident, and then you say that the place is full? We are sorry, go. That's the difficulty. And then when they say, oh, no bed, we have not communicated effectively. When we say no bed, it is not necessarily about a physical bed. We have 45, 52 patients instead of 12. In Tubani, I see no bed. It has to do with space. It has to do with personnel. It has to do with equipment. You understand?
So it's beyond what we think.
Look, it is the reason why there have been calls for the completion of Sewa and Aferi hospitals.
Right.
Because
to release
when that is done,
the pressure.
Exactly. But not until those ones are done. Look, what do we do? But I've enjoyed myself on your program.
I just wish that we wouldn't end. I don't know why Prof is taking his car keys. he came so early. He's leaving so early. We haven't taken my celebrity photograph, so please don't go yet. Right. And this has been a very insightful and eye-opening conversation. I think I underestimated how the conversation was going to go, and should I say I'm perplexed?
Well, say that you have me another time.
Yes, but I'll ask you one more thing. Just one more thing. But P2 Lounge says every Friday, come and sing. All right, you don't have to get the songs right. You don't have to get the lyrics right. Just come and sing your song. You know, Prof would pass by one of these days. We can't promise, but he can. Until Friday, we are Bra P2 Lounge. Kumasi City Mall, Nebetonium. Open mic, free. Super Lovec phone, so iPhone, Samsung, Infinix, Huawei, Itel. Enkoto phone bia wala local shop bia ukasa de hello. Shada ntedi woka Debbie. No me se onpe banchi dua bi hu nyina na mente ukasa ni Debbie. Super Lovec phones loka hello neko. Nani padate no so akebia cheo. Ope dudu etu aton pe ba kumienu bia yusu. O ma me phone ato abenkwan mu. Enyeshi ubaye be malbi for 0501 635 620 or 0501 635 621. Super Lovec, always lower in prices. And then Victory Forward Boutique, and when I mema loafers, more half shoe, derby shoes, the Chelsea shoes, sneakers, sandals, linina, and mema no so your heels, mano, your heel, your wedges, stilettos, ninina, uto stiletto mommy I'm say, many beje pa into the coho, or more papa ni bi wa across a kotobishe, na atare no sa suit no, to the kama, no bonnet fine. Now upia ni you are making a statement. Intimisha Bomadia say Odebeba. Ubihum Victory Forward Boutique Croft Room close to Bolga Station or more airport runabout. Or some traffic light or Grace Baptist Church now. Or so Croft Room traffic light Balance Hotel opposite Total Filling Station. Contact them on 0244 946 405. And I'll share my Facebook live for me makeup if you any Splendor Beauty Salon. O mesisi me homiti ni me honam ni na efepa. Afi earrings, bracelets, free Sperkify. Lawyer Mrs. Benedicta Fridia Ajimine. And now I'm a Speckifier. Me Speckifier me hosano. Also proudly brought to you by C White Phones, our proud sponsor. We appreciate. I'll be here again next week with another trailblazer, another leadership impact that you know want to mix. But Doc, we are done.
Thank you.
What is life beyond Konfanoche for you in the next decade?
Well, beyond I'll go back to the university and go and teach. My favorite subject. Why?
Don't you see yourself reading law in any day?
My
in your
wife
life?
won't allow me to read law.
Why?
I'll see here.
School the doors. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Abna K. Adam. Big shouts to Auntie Mensah for holding Prof down. We appreciate. But Prof, they were asking me to ask you what's your take on side chicks, but me, I won't ask you. Well, I won't ask you in Jesus' name.